gang. It's me, Kate, and we're back for number 3 of the daily 30-minute yoga. Otis and Lucy, my lovely assistants, will be joining us this afternoon. They're probably going to start fighting in a minute. Ignore that. So, to get started, if you have blocks, that would be swell, 2 little yoga blocks. If you don't have blocks, then something like blocks. You basically are just using them as stability. So any 2 shoe boxes or water bottles, anything like that, anything that are equal and that you can use as stabilizers to bring the floor closer to you. And then something like a strap. So I have here a belt that I don't use anymore, but you can have anything. It can be an actual yoga strap if you're fancy like that, or if you have a scarf or anything long and usable like that. We're just going to use that towards the end of the practice, so have that nearby. And then let's go ahead and get started. So come to the top of the mat. Find a comfortable standing position. The feet might be hip-width distance apart. I would recommend dropping the tailbone and creating some space behind the knees. Yeah, good. And then let's, we're going to do a pranayama, which is a yogic breathing technique called alternate nostril breathing, nadi shodhana. So you take the right hand and you bring the 2 peace fingers down into the palm, and then you're going to use the thumb to close off the right nostril and the ring finger to close off the left. Good. So let's take a couple deep breaths, relaxing the left hand down, having the mudra of the hand ready. Inhale, and then exhale. Another deep breath like that, just to get prepared. Inhale, and then exhale. Very nice. And then when you're ready, closing off the right nostril with the thumb and just breathing in through the left. Inhale. You can close the eyes if you want. I'll talk you through it. Feeling full, and then closing off the left nostril, and then exhaling out through the right. Feel empty, and then inhaling right. Close off right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close off left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close off right. Exhale left. Feel empty. Inhale left. Feel full. Close off left. Exhale right. Drop the tops of the shoulders, space behind the knees, tailbone drops. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. And exhale right. Last round. Inhale right. Feel the fullness at the top of the breath. Close off the right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close off left. Exhale right. Put the right hand down by the body, left hand down by the body. Drop the shoulders and then inhale through both nostrils. Gentle pause at the top. And exhale. And one more just like that. Inhale. And exhale. Very nice. And you can continue to breathe in and out through the nose, constricting the back of the throat so you can hear the breath if that's possible. If not, just breathing in and out through the nose. And if that's not possible, just breathing. Most importantly, breathing. We're going to take a couple of neck rolls to get started. So inhale, and then exhale, dropping the chin to the chest. Inhale here, and then exhale, rolling the right ear towards the right shoulder. Take a deep breath here, and then exhale, chin to the chest. Inhale, and then exhale, over towards the left shoulder. Let the right collarbone, left pinky fall away from the ear. Inhale, and then exhale, back to center. Inhale and center, and then exhale, over towards the right. Good, very nice. This time we're going to lift the left arm up and over sweeping through the air, yeah, and then all the way up and over towards the right. You can look down behind that shoulder, you can look up towards the pinky, or you can just let the head hang sideways. Good. See if you can plant the outer left foot and reach the left pinky away from that. Good. Drop the tailbone, hug the front low belly, belly button in, inhale, and then exhale, coming back to the center. Good. Inhale here, and then exhale, drop the chin to the chest. Inhale, and then exhale, left ear towards the left shoulder, dropping the head. See if you can draw the right shoulder blade onto the back away from the ear. And then when you're ready, inhale, the arm reaches out and up, all the way over. Palm faces the ground. Yeah, and see if you can drop the back of the right hip, the back of the sacrum down as you lift the pinky up. Yeah, if you straighten the arm, it really gets into the side waist. If you bend it, it kind of allows more space in the upper chest. So you decide what's best. A little more weight in the right foot, a little more breath in the left lung. Inhale, and then exhale, sweeping that arm down. Beautiful. Inhale here. And then on the exhale, we're going to step to the front of the mat and move through a modified sun salutation. So I'd recommend feet about hip-width distance apart. See if you can have the outer edges of the feet in line with the outer edges of the mat. Good. Beautiful. On an inhale, arms reach out. See if you can feel the space across the breath. Across the heart. Yeah, good. So you can lift the pinkies, drop the tailbone away from that. So the front body hugs in, the back body elongates and softens. Look to the thumbs if that's okay on the neck, and then exhale, forward fold all the way. Bending your knees really deeply, letting the head hang. Good. Dropping the head. See if you can allow the sides of the neck to get a little bit longer. You might even think about gently pulling the chin towards the chest. You might interlace the hands around the elbows. Yeah, good. Just to let the side waist be really long. Find the feet here. See if you can stand into all four corners of the feet, maybe spreading the toes. You might lift the inner ankles, inner arch, and then hug the outer shin in just to sort of wake up the feet. But make sure there's a lot of space behind the knees. And that you can really drop the back of the skull down towards the toes. Yeah. So as the backs of the hips lift, even if the knees are deeply bent, the back of the skull drops, heavy, soft. Good. Exhale. Good. Inhale here. Notice where the breath goes naturally. See if you can pull it up all the way into the mid ribs, all the way into the bottom floating ribs. Good. Beautiful, y'all. Exhale. And then on an inhale, we're going to bring the hands to the sides of the shins. Really press the hands into the shins and see if you can lift the outer edges of the shins into the hands. We're going to, on an inhale, start to come halfway up. So gathering the front ribs in so that there's space in the back of the ribs for breath, and then hugging the outer hips in slightly. Yeah, so you can roll the inseam of the legs back. The knees are deeply bent. There's space behind the knees. Good. Rolling the shoulders into the waist and reaching the collarbones into the chin. Good. Very nice. Sides of the neck are long. Sides of the waist are long. Inhale. Then keeping all that length, shoulders reach up the back, head drops down towards the toes. Keeping a nice deep bend in the knees so there's space for the sacrum. Nice deep hip creases. One more just like that. Inhale halfway. See if you can elongate the side waist, as if you're going to lift the sides of the waist, sides of the ribs up to the ceiling. Notice if you could lift the front shoulders onto the back and help, see if that helps the shoulder blades to slide down towards the hips. Beautiful, yeah. Press the hands into the shins, shins into the hands, and then exhale, forward fold. Beautiful. This time, keeping the shoulders on the block, we're going to put the hands right outside of the pinkies, and then step the right foot back onto the knee and the left foot back onto the knee, coming into tabletop pose. Good. See if the sides of the waist can still be long. Notice if you could still have a little bit of that feeling of the forward fold here. Yeah, so there's space in the side waist. We're still gathering the front body up. Yeah, the back of the neck is really long and easy. And then on an inhale, dropping the belly, lifting the tailbone, lifting the crown of the head and the collarbones, as if you could pull the heels of the hands back as you roll the inner elbows forward. Good, very nice. And then exhale, dropping the tail, dropping the head, lifting the side ribs, the back of the ribs up to the ceiling, the belly button, dropping the tailbone. And then inhale, coming into cow pose again. So seeing if you can drag the sides of the ribs, the collarbones, the sternum forward as you move the hands, scrub the hands back in the mat. Yeah, lift the tailbone, let the inner knees be heavy, and exhale. Pressing into the hands, doming up the back. See if you can hollow out the armpits, like the outer edges of the shoulder blades. You're going to touch the wrists. Yes, good. Drop the head, drop the tail. Inhale, coming up. Good. And exhale. moving into the cat pose. Drop the head, stand into the pointer finger and the thumb, so you can get all the fingertips and all the base knuckles really planted here, and then coming back up into tabletop. Good. We're going to tuck the toes, scoot the hips back towards the heels, still pressing the fingertips forward, finding all of the base knuckles, rolling the inner elbows forward as you hug the outer wrists in, and then we're going to shift up and back into a modified downward facing dog. So we're keeping the knees really deeply bent so that the hip creases can be really wide, yeah, and the back of the sacrum can be spacious. So the tailbone gently reaches up towards the back corner of the room, yeah, and there's space behind the knees. Notice if you could gather in the front low ribs, the sternum, like the sternum could touch the spine, and notice if you could roll the inner elbows forward so the pointy part of the elbows reaches back, and hug the outer wrists in at the same time. Good. Gather the belly button in, nice. Gather the side ribs into the space above you. Drop the head, and then on an inhale, looking forward, and on an exhale, tiny steps all the way to the front of the mat. Inhale halfway when you get there, pressing into the shins. See if you can elongate the space between the outer hips and the armpits. Good. Inhale here, and then exhale, shoulders reach up the back towards the hips, and the head drops down towards the toes. Reverse swan dive. We're going to stand into the feet, big toe and outer heel, and then gently start to lift up. As the tailbone drops, the front hips lift. As the shoulders drop, the front sternum lifts. Good. Look up to the ceiling, find the hands, and then bring the hands back down into prayer. Beautiful, y'all. Very nice. We're going to do a chair pose. So if you have blocks that swell, go ahead and take a block, and we're going to put it in between the thighs. If you don't have a block, imagine you have a block, and you can kind of do the work of having a block without having one. What? Okay, good. And then we're going to take, we're not going to take that other block. We're just going to hug down on this block. Good. So make sure that the outer edges of the feet are in line with the outer edges of the mat. Again, that just sets up inward rotation, which opens up the back, lower back, the sacrum. Good, very nice. So you want to make sure the block is in the middle of the thighs, not so it's personal and not so it's touching the knees. Yeah, very good. And then on an inhale, hands come to the hips. Nice. Drop the tailbone, lift the hip points towards the low ribs, and hug the low ribs in towards the hip points. And try to keep a little bit of that activation. Shoulders onto the back, inhale, and then exhale like you're passing the block to somebody behind you. Start to come into chair pose. Yeah. It might feel like the inner knees are moving forward and the outer hips are hugging back. Yes, good. The inner hip points lift off of the thighs in towards the belly button, and the tailbone drops down. Good. Notice the outer shins. See if they can hug into the block. Notice the outer hips and see if they can hug into the block. Very nice. Beautiful. Inhale here. And then on an exhale, we're going to hug down into the block, hug the hip points towards the belly button, drop the tailbone to stand up. Good. Take the block, maybe groovy hips, maybe marching in place. Yeah, anything that kind of loosens up the outer hip, deep low back. Good, very nice. Let's bring you can either use a block or not this next time, it's up to you. If you're using the block, same position. If you're not using a block, then you're not using a block. So getting into position here. If you're not using a block, the knees are together, the ankles are somewhat close together. Yeah, good. If you are using a block, the outer edges of the feet are in line with the outer edges of the block, of the mat. All right, y'all. Inhale. The arms reach up this time. See if you can outward rotate the arms. So the inner elbows reach up, the outer arms reach down, and it's as if you're hugging the pinkies in towards the midline, a little bit stronger than the thumbs. Good. See if that movement can come a little bit from the back, almost like you're doing a cat pose again, where you're doming up the back a little bit, and then drop the tops of the shoulders down at the same time. Good. So there's a lot of activation. It doesn't look like much, but it is happening. Good. Inhale here, and then on an exhale, start to sink the inner thighs, groins down and back like they're heavy. Good. Tailbone is dropping slightly, outer hips are hugging slightly. Good. Inhale here. See if the inner knees can move forward and the outer hips can hug back and in. Inhale here. Arms reach. Exhale, arms are going to swing back by the body, palms face one another, and we're going to come into a little halfway fold. Yes, very nice. The outer hips still hug in, the inner groin still soften back, shoulders reach out of the ground, and then inhale, we're going to come back up. Original pose, dropping the tailbone, lifting the pinkies, Tops of the shoulders relax. Good. Yes. Side waists are long and strong. One more like that. Exhale. Hands come down. Reaching behind you. See if you can keep the shoulder blades on the back. Lift the collarbones wide. Almost like you're pressing the hands behind you into a block. Drop the tailbone. Lift the sternum. Beautiful. And then exhale. And inhale, coming all the way up. And exhale, hands come back into prayer. Woo! Very nice. We're going to come into a squat. You can have the blocks beneath you, like so. Heels in, toes out, and sit on the blocks. Bringing the elbows to the insides of the knees, pressing the knees into the elbows and the elbows into the knees. If you don't have blocks or you don't need to use blocks, heels in, toes out, same deal. Yeah, and you drop the tailbone. And pressing the knees into the elbows and the elbows into the knees really helps to free up the deep low back. Yeah, good. So see if you can feel that. Nice. Wee. You're really doing it right if you hit the ground. See if you can move the thumbs down and the sternum up. Yeah, shoulders drop into the back. Tailbone releases. Outer hip creases are deep and wide. Yeah, like a river. Inhale. Very nice. Hands on the ground. And then exhale. We're going to stand up into a forward fold. Drop the head, drop the shoulders. And then on an exhale, inhale. Drop the hips, and then on an exhale, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Again, feel the transition of weight. The heels drop, the fronts of the knees lift, the tailbone drops, the fronts of the hips lift, the shoulder blades drop, and the collarbones and face lifts. Beautiful, very nice, y'all. We're gonna put the, we're gonna come into Warrior Two. So you might wanna have your blocks long way near the edges of the mat if you have them, and then we're gonna move the right foot forward, and then the left foot steps back. Yes. So the outer blade of that foot is at a slight angle. Yeah, good. We're really standing into the back heel. And then you come into as much of a 90-degree angle in the front leg as you possibly can. You might put your hands on the hips just to sort of investigate. Yeah, good. So you want to make sure that the inner knee and heel of the front leg are really solid. So the heel drops, the inner knee moves forward, and that allows the outer right hip to get heavy and reach down into the hamstring and out through that inner knee. So there's a little bit of a rotation here. So the outer hip helps to hug in and support the thigh muscle, yes. And we stand into the back inner heel and see if we can lift the inner arch and roll the inner thigh up and back. So the outer left hip gently rolls forward a little bit as if it's going to reach for the inner right knee. And then the arms added are a little bit of a twist. Yeah, exactly. So the hips are moving towards the right inner knee and the arms are moving in the opposite direction, like the back pinky moves back and the front thumb moves forward. Beautiful. Inhale here. On an exhale, find the front inner heel, and then exhale, reverse warrior. So the hand comes to the back of the back leg. See if you can stand, drop the outer right hip down and lift the right hip crease up. And this is similar to that stretch we took in the beginning of class. So feel that again. Inhale. On an exhale, we're going to straighten the front leg. Feel the length from the big toe to the pinky toe. And then on an exhale, we're going to shift forward, reaching the right hand forward and the tailbone and left sits bone back. And then move into triangle pose. So you might have a block on the inside or the outside of the foot on its highest position. Yeah, you might bend that front knee quite a bit. Yeah, beautiful. You might step the back foot in. Find what works for you. Good. Very nice. So we're still standing into the big toe. We're going to stand in the big toe of the front foot and see if we can rotate the outer right hip down and back. Very similar to what we had going on when the leg was bent. Yeah, and same thing with the back hip. We're standing into the back inner heel, rolling the outer left hip towards the right inner knee so the tailbone can reach directly back as the crown of the head reaches forward. And then if you have the space to open up the chest, very similarly to the way that it was in Warrior Two. So the bottom ribs try to move towards the right inner thigh and the top ribs reach to the ceiling. Good. Very nice. Inhale here. See if the tailbone and the back of the skull can move away from each other in this last breath. Inhale. Super beautiful. On an exhale, we're going to bend the front knee. Very nice. Lift back up into Warrior Two. Drop the tailbone, lift the back of the skull, reach the fingertips away from one another. Good. And then we're going to rotate towards the front of the mat, lift the back heel off the mat, and then step forward. Ha! Great job. Inhale here. Let's move directly to the other side. So I'm going to face you, but you'll step the left foot forward and the right foot back. Right, left knee is bent this time. Yeah, good. So setting yourself up for the pose. Good. All right, knees right over the ankle on the bent leg, the left leg. Good, yeah. And then we're gonna try and get that rotation in the back hip a little bit. Yes, perfect. So you want the inner heel of the back leg to be really strong, the outer blade of the back leg to be really strong, and lifting the inner arch a little bit. And that might roll the inseam of that leg back. So the outer right hip moves towards the left inner knee. Yeah, good, very nice. And then standing into that front hip, moving the inner knee of the front leg forward, similar to how it might feel in chair pose. And then dropping the outer left hip down and hugging it in towards the midline. And then we balance the upper body on top of the lower body, yeah. So it might feel a little bit like the left inner knee is moving forward and the right pinky is moving back. Good. See if you can drop the tailbone, lift the sternum, lift the back of the skull. It might feel like you're pressing down on two tables. Yes. Spreading the thumbs apart as much as the pinkies. And then on an inhale, standing into the front heel, up and back. So you can use the right hand on the right leg or hip, and then move the whole left side of the body into an arc. Yes, good. See if you can still drop and hug that outer left hip into the midline and lift the left hip point up away from that drop. Yes, inhale here. On an exhale, straighten out that leg. It might feel good. Feel the length on the left side of the body, and then exhale up and over into triangle pose. You might have your block nearby, and you can use it on any height in front of or behind that foot. And you might find it useful to bend the front knee quite a bit. As we move from a bent leg to a straight leg, the weight shifts into the toe and out of the heel. Yeah, so it's in the heel when the leg is bent, and it moves to the toes, the gas pedal part of the foot, when we straighten the legs, so that we have a little bit more space behind that knee, a little bit more use of the calf and the thigh muscle. And then opening up into the twist, yes. So the lower body is sort of rotating towards the left inner knee, and the upper chest is rotating in the opposite direction. Yes, see if you can drop the top ribs down so there's more space between the left hip point and the left collarbone. Yeah, and then open up. Tailbone reaches back, back of the skull reaches forward. Find some space between the arms, like you could reach from the inner blades of the shoulder blades into the pinkies, and spread the collarbones into the thumbs. Find the back heel, give it some more weight. Find the front big toe, give it some scooting forward. Last breath here, inhale. And then on an exhale, we're gonna bend into the front leg, stand into that heel, reach back up into warrior two. Good. Spreading the arms, inhale. Very nice. And then we're gonna rotate towards the front of the mat. Lift the back heel off the ground, and then step forward. Very nice. Good job, y'all. Inhale here. Beautiful. And then exhale. Nice. We're going to come into tree pose for just a breath. So standing into, okay, more than a breath. Standing into the left foot and moving the right heel to the right ankle. Yes, good. Hands come into prayer. See if you can hug the outer right hip into the ankle, the right ankle. Yeah, good. Drop the tailbone, lift the collarbones. Just to get a little bit of that rotation without weight bearing. Good, very nice. Inhale here. And then on an exhale, switching legs. Right leg plants. Left heel comes to the right ankle. Good, hands can stay in prayer. See if you can lengthen the inner groin to the inner knee. Very nice. And drop the outer left hip down. Hug the outer right hip in. Tailbone drops. Back of the skull lifts. Yeah, just similar rotation, but different orientation. Yeah, just to get that into the body. Inhale. Very nice. Knee moves forward and then steps. Beautiful. On an inhale, we're gonna reach the arms out and up. See if you can drop the tailbone, lift the sternum, and then exhale, forward fold, just to move that out of the body. Drop the head. Inhale halfway, hands come to the sides of the shins, tailbone back, collarbones forward, hands drop to the ground, knees onto the mat. Inhale into a cow pose. Exhale, pressing into the hands, doming up the back. Inhale into neutral spine. Exhale, dropping the hips towards the heels, pressing the fingertips forward and lifting the inner thighs up and back into a modified downward facing dog. Let the head be heavy. Roll the inner elbows forward. Hug the outer hips in and back. Yes. And then inhale, looking at the thumbs, and then exhale, tiny steps all the way to the front of the mat. Inhale halfway, and exhale, fold. Keeping your knees as bent as you need to. Straighten them as much as you can, and then lifting the shoulders up onto the back. Beautiful. Inhale, all the way up, reverse swan dive. And then exhale, hands come into prayer. Beautiful. We're gonna come onto the ground. Very nice. We're gonna move into Baddha Konasana here. Yeah, so the soles of the feet are together. You might sit on a blanket or a pillow. You might just move the torque meat out of the way, but see if you can get onto the fronts of the sits bones. And the feet can be really close to the body or they can be really far away, just whatever feels good on the knees and deep low back. Very nice. Inhale here. See if you can release the back of the thighs. Yeah. See if you can release the inner groins. Very nice. Inhale here. And then on an exhale, we're going to take the left hand to the right foot, ankle, or calf, and then move the right hand behind the right hip into a little twist. So you want to give some weight to the right leg, right thigh. Drop the shoulder blades down to back, especially the right one. Yeah, good. See if you can gather the front low ribs and the hip points together so it's really a twist instead of a back bend or forward fold. Inhale. And then exhale, coming back to the center. Same thing, other side. So moving the right hand to the left shin, ankle, calf, and then moving the left hand behind the left hip. Good. And then rotating the sternum towards the inner left knee. Good. Tailbone is heavy. Collarbones are really light. Nice. And make sure you still have a little bit of weight in the right sits bone, allowing that knee to move away from the twist. Good. Inhale here. And then exhale back to the center. Hands to the outsides of the knees. Gather them into the body. And then roll down onto the back. You might just gather the knees into the chest. You might take a couple of sacrum rolls where you put the hands on the fronts of the knees, rolling the knees forward, over to the left, up to the chest, over to the right. You might switch directions. Yeah, good. Allowing the face to be soft, the neck relaxed. Very nice, good. And then we're going to put the knees on the ground. Really nice. This is the time when you will need your strap. I apologize, I didn't tell you before. Wicked. Good. Just have it nearby if you need. Good. And then lifting both feet on the ground, knees up to the ceiling, and then lifting the right knee into the chest. Good. Very nice. We're going to take the strap and put it around the right foot. You might have it close to the toes if you want a little bit more of a calf stretch. You might have it closer to the heel if you want a little bit more of that feeling of the thigh bone sinking into its socket, which is the sacrum. Yeah, good. And then holding on to both sides of the strap with either hand, dropping the shoulders down. See if the outer edges of the shoulders can drop as you start to straighten the leg any amount, pressing into the strap. The inner heel does the driving of this pose. Yeah, so the inner heel reaches up. Outer right hip gently moves towards the front of the mat. It almost might feel like the sits bone moves towards the left ankle. Yeah, good. You can keep the knee deeply bent. You still get all of the benefit. Beautiful, y'all. Inhale. Very nice. And exhale. See if you can relax the low ribs into the mat. See if you can spread the collarbones wide with the breath. Good. And then when you're ready, switching hands. So the right hand is both straps into the left hand, and the right palm of the hand is going to rest on the very upper part of that right thigh, pressing it forward. Yeah, so you're at the base of that thigh, pressing it forward, and then gently start to move the right heel towards the left, sort of cross body. And for me, it doesn't take long to find sensation here. Notice if it's the same for you. Yeah, so we don't want anything to grip. We want to keep the breath deep and the forehead soft, but we are looking for a little bit of opening in this kind of bizarre shape. Yeah, moving the inner heel towards the right, pressing the outer right hip towards the front of the mat with the palm of the hand. Inhale, and then on an exhale, coming back. Good. Releasing that foot, gathering the knee into the chest. One last time. Good. And then exhale comes down. Let's try the other side. So knee comes to the chest, just gathering it into the body for a moment. The outer left hip moves forward. The inner left knee moves towards the body or armpit. And then linking up the strap around the foot. You can decide where you want it to sit on the foot. There might be a little center line moment that would feel best. Yeah, good. Choke down on the strap enough that you can really press the inner heel towards straightening the leg, even if it never gets there, and not so much that the shoulders reach off the ground and the neck has to work. Yeah, good. So finding that middle way. Yeah, good. So the outer left hip moves forward, the inner left heel reaches up, and you can do this with a very bent leg. Notice the sides of the face, the forehead, the eyes sinking back into their socket. Breathing deeply across the expanse of the back body. Good. And then when you're ready, putting both both straps into the right hand, using the left palm of the hand to press into the upper left thigh. Yeah, so it rolls forward. Nice. Yeah, keeping the left side of the waist really long, and then start to move the left heel towards the right side of the mat. And again, it probably doesn't have to go far to get sensation. So as soon as you start to feel it, it's probably enough, and just breathe into whatever you found there. Continue to press that outer left hip forward. Continue to move from the inner heel of the left foot. And stick one more deep breath here. Inhale. Beautiful. And then exhale, moving the foot back up to the center. Bondage it, and then again, both knees into the chest. You can roll around. If you want to take a happy baby, bringing your hands to the feet, soles of the feet to the ceiling, or grabbing onto the backs of the shins, maybe straightening one leg and then the other. That might feel nice. It might feel nice just to gather the knees into the chest and kind of rock side side or front back. Good. And then the feet come down onto the ground. Arms come out into a cactus or a T. Inhale in the center, and then exhale, let the knees drop over to the left. Inhale, center, and then exhale, knees drop over to the right. Inhale, center, knees drop over to the left. Inhale, center, knees drop over towards the right. And you're going to continue to do this for a few more breaths. You can continue with the kinetic movement, keeping on moving with the breath, or if you want to rest for a couple of breaths on one side, do that. Breathing into the side waist. Letting the shoulders be heavy. Yeah, good. Letting the back of the skull be long and wide. So you're moving at your own pace here, using your own breath, deciding if you want to stop the movement or if you want to continue to feel the shift of weight across the sacrum. You might notice that the whole spine, the whole torso, all the way up to the ears and neck is affected by the movement of the legs. Yeah, my teacher Annie Carpenter says that the legs feed the spine, and it becomes very apparent in this movement. Good. So after you feel complete with that, I'm going to leave it up to you as to when you've had enough. You can do anything that you want to finish up the practice. So say taking 4 or 5 breaths to do whatever it takes to make you feel really complete. You might do a forward fold, you might gather the knees in, you might do a little back bend if you know one. If you want early Shavasana and you just head right into Shavasana, that's beautiful. If you want to put on something warm and kind of settle in, you can always use the blocks in Baddha Konasana, supine Baddha Konasana, blocks on the outsides of the mat, and then the knees rest into it, and then the arms out. Shavasana can also look like this. It can also be some pillows behind the knees, or resting the knees up on a couch or a chair and resting like that. Anything that's really soothing and comfortable for you. I'm going to allow you to take your own Shavasana just in the interest of time, but make sure that you do take that pose. It's really important. It helps to percolate everything that we've done here as far as fresh blood and oxygen and soothing the central nervous system with the breath. It really helps to set that. And then when you're finished, you can kind of start fresh with the rest of your day. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you again very soon. And yeah, that's it. Enjoy your Shavasana. Take your Shavasana. Thank you. Bye.